Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with the coolest guy in the room, Marrio Barrios, taking on Yordenis Ugas September 30th. Marios, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. In the middle of camp, so it's just really been just training and resting. But yeah, I mean, I'm good.
You're very good indeed. I said this to Ugas in the build-up to it, and the same kind of question applies to yourself. What's it like taking on fighters who have a real identity to themselves, like yourself, who you've got that kind of I believe it's Native American background. You hold the expectations of that as well as you enter into the ring, as does Ugas, who has that Cuban background and holds the expectation to succeed in the ring as well. What's it like having those expectations and also fighting a fighter that also has a similar sort of expectation too?
I think it makes the fight very exciting. Because we go in there with a lot of pride, with a lot of honor, for not just ourselves, but our culture, where we come from. And I know for myself, anytime I step in the ring, I'm always proud, to represent my Mexican heritage, my native and indigenous side, and bring those roots, like with me, whenever I'm fighting. And I know Ugas is very similar. And that's another reason why it makes this fight that much more exciting. Just because how much pride each of us has, in just not only the fighters that we are, but just the people.
Yeah, no, it's a very cool kind of thing that both of you bring into the ring. Just in terms of fighting, though, specifically, what's your scout report on Ugas as a fighter?
I think he's a very well-rounded fighter. He's very offensive. For him having that Cuban background, he doesn't fight like a conventional Cuban. He's known for coming forward, fighting on the inside, and so I'm expecting a very explosive fight. I know he's gonna get to work, and so am I. I have boxing ability, but a lot of times I like to slug it out at times. So yeah, this fight, it has a potential to be a really a fan friendly fight.
Do you expect him to do that from the off, or do you think you'll have to drag him into what could be a cuts and bruises type of affair between you two?
Uh, you know, I might have to drag it into it. Only because he is coming off a long layoff. He is a little older, so from I'm looking to press the gas right away. I'm 28. I feel like I'm just getting into my prime, and I have a lot to prove, and this is a big opportunity. So I'm looking forward to taking full of that advantage of it.
Very simple, very easy for me to say, but I'm on this side of the ropes. You're the one going into the ring. But are you looking at the eye injury he suffered? Are you looking at that as a weakness? Are you looking at that as a target?
I think I don't think Ugas would have took this fight if he knew if there was any doubt in that eye. The one thing I am looking forward to taking advantage of is that layoff that he has had.
In terms of this win for you in your career, where would you rank it if you get it as you plan to do on September 30th?
A win against Ugas on the 30th, I think it'll be my biggest like to date. Like it'll be, it puts me right up there with the top welterweights in the division. And it's only going to open more doors for bigger fights, and eventually do whatever I can to get a shot at one of the titles.
I'm not a betting man at all, but I believe you're a slight underdog in this fight. Are you happy with that tag? Do you feel that you are?
Yeah, from I mean, I'm happy with it. I've always enjoyed being an underdog. Uh, but I think right now I'm actually like a pretty heavy underdog, like with the betting odds that I have heard.
Okay.
But like it doesn't affect me. If anything, it's just if anything, it just means like a lot of people are gonna be disappointed. Come fight night.
Yeah, do you like proving people wrong?
I do, I do. I know I don't know what it is about it. But for even me just being here, in the position that I am, I feel like I have I've divided a lot of odds, as it is. So whenever that comes back up, I always kind of just smile at it. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Last time I spoke to you, which was quite a while back now, you were with Virgil Hunter. You now moved to Bob Santos. How long have you been with him, and how do you feel you've improved under his game?
I've been back with well, because Bob has always been part of my team. Earlier on in my career, I was training with Bob, and then we made the full switch with Virgil. Um, but I'm happy with the work that we have been putting in, with the style that we've been training, especially for this fight. And I'm very grateful, for all the years I spent, with Virgil Hunter and everything that we accomplished together. We still have a really great relationship. And but yeah, I think everything that I've been working on, with Bob Santos and Richard Barrientos, at the gym over here in Vegas. I think we're doing everything right, and to come out with the win on September 30th.
When you say new style, are we expecting to see something completely different from you, or just kind of little tweaks to your game?
No, yeah, not completely different. Just little tweaks. I got this far, fighting, how I always have, but you definitely I'm definitely always trying to learn, on the job, and trying to just soak in as much knowledge as I can, while I'm in the sport.
And Marrio, whilst I've got you here, just get your thoughts on a couple of other things. I know you're tired of some certain questions, so I'm hoping no one's asked you this just yet. But talk of a former opponent that you faced, Gervonta Davis, taking on, well, Sean O Malley from the UFC is calling on a fight with Gervonta Davis. What do you think if that happens?
Uh, I've heard I've heard and I've seen stuff on social media. If that fight was to take place, is it taking place in a boxing ring?
Let's say it's boxing, yeah.
Boxing, yeah, I don't give him much of a chance. Like I said, I've been in there with Tank. Man, he's a hell of a fighter. He's very boxing IQ is really, he has a really high boxing IQ. And it's very explosive, very quick. I don't think that was it Sean O Malley.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know if he has ever been in there with that type of boxing ability. But it's the same thing, if it's the other way around, if Tank was to fight him in the cage, I wouldn't give Tank much of a besides a puncher's chance.
If I'm right as well, rewind a few months ago, Jake Paul was in the gym, the Bob Santos gym, wasn't he?
I believe he was, but during that time, I wasn't here. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, fair enough. A couple of things, and I'll let you go. Bam Rodriguez, look, Bam's obviously been on a brilliant run, doing his thing, looking to take on Sonny Edwards. We obviously know Sonny Edwards as an accomplished, brilliant fighter over here in the UK, but the two are going to get it on later this year. How do you see that fight going?
Oh man, I see Bam coming out victorious. Bam's my dude. We grew up together, in San Antonio. And man, I'm so proud of that dude, and everything that he's that he has accomplished. Him and his brother Josh Franco. But that's another fight. I'm gonna be there in December in I believe Arizona is where it's taking place. So I already have plans on being there. Because I'm gonna go out there and support Bam.
Growing up, do you and Bam ever have moveabouts in the ring, or were you just too big?
Yeah, no, I was just always too big. Me and his brother Josh were closer in age. I'm talking about I was 12 or 13, and Bam was 7 or 8 years old. So there was a huge size difference. So we never even that was never even something that was considered.
Be interesting if you did get in the ring. Would love to see that one. Final couple of things. Canelo Charlo, that's what you're on the undercard of. How do you see that fight going too?
It's hard to say. Charlo, he does have even though he's the one coming up, 2 weight classes, he still has the size advantage, and I think just naturally he's just the bigger guy, and he has excellent, boxing abilities. I kind of, I really see this fight, 50-50. And it's a bit, it's I know a lot of people wanted, Jermel's brother to fight him, but I don't think it's any different, with Jermel fighting him. I think he has just the same chance, and I'm excited to watching that fight after me and Ugas get it on.
You get the win from your perspective as you're planning to do. What's the big fight you're looking for afterwards?
Given everything goes right, afterwards, we'll sit down with my team. And like I said, me, of course, I want to just continue on taking the big fights. But like I have an advisor and manager for a reason. So I mean, we'll sit down afterwards, and given everything goes right, and then we'll see what's next. But like I said, I mean, I want to continue to fight the best. The welterweight is stacked with talent and tremendous fighters from all over the world. So whoever really.
Speaking of all over the world, I'm over here in the UK. Are you keeping an eye on the British scene at all, welterweights? I know that when Conor Benn talks about big fights, he lists your name in there as a potential future opponent.
Yeah. Given he's all of his stuff is cleaned up, and everything. I mean, I think that'll be a very exciting fight. Whether it takes place here, in the US or or overseas. That's the big opportunity. And it's one that I would definitely take.
Love to see you fighting here over in the UK. Lastly, then, I'll leave the final word with you. What happens September 30th when you step through the ropes against Yordenis Ugas?
It's hard to say, but, it's going to be a very exciting fight. Like I said, I know Ugas is coming ready. So am I. I'm going to do whatever it takes, to come out, with the win. And, like both of our styles, coming together, clashing. There's no way, this is gonna be a boring fight. Both of us have a lot to prove, and like I said, I'm trying to make that mark, in this division.
Marrio, real pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for speaking to the Seconds Out. I'm looking forward to the fight. It's one of those fights there. I'm sure that afterwards there'll be a highlights video with Deftones playing in the background. Looking forward to seeing you in action. That's the one. Looking forward to seeing you in action. Thanks for speaking to Seconds Out. All the best.
Well done, Eamon. Thank you.